Hello, in this video I'm going to share my first impressions of the Derzki. I bought the ship 2 days ago. The game you're seeing is my third game in this ship, which is also the first game I've had it fully upgraded. And I've actually cut a huge chunk out of the start here because I went to A along with most of my team, but the enemy never showed up, so I figured I'd save you 3 minutes of watching me sail here. So there's all my team following up behind me. Just a quick rundown of the Derzki. On paper it doesn't look a lot different from the Storozhevoi. It's got the same guns, it's got 3 of them. It's a little bit slower, a little bit less agile, a little bit less stealthy, but it gets a bit more hit points. The big difference you'll notice on paper is that the Derzki gets 5 torpedo launches, so 10 torpedoes in total, but they are the same old I think it's 1910 torpedoes as the Storozhevoi, so only a 3 kilometer range, and they're not particularly fast and they don't do all that much damage. But having 10 of them does give you the option of just basically closing off a chunk of water off your broadside at close range. The one big thing I have noticed about the Derzki that makes it actually a really good ship is that it gets very good firing angles. You see here the turret number 2 is raised, which means it can fire directly to the rear, so you've now got 2 guns firing backwards. It will also fire to the front a bit better than the previous, well, the gun in the Storozhevoi, and the rearmost turret on the Derzki can actually swing around 360 degrees, which means that it can basically always take the quickest route to get back on target regardless of your manoeuvring. Which just means that, yeah, the Derzki can angle much better than Storozhevoi, it can keep its guns on target much better than Storozhevoi, and therefore it does a bit more damage with its guns than Storozhevoi. So anyway, we have managed to run into the enemy team. Got a lucky shot off on the Kawachi right at the start of the game, managed to start a fire with my first broadside. And now I'm engaging this Tenryu. Basically, my teams all kind of head back from A and they're heading in towards B, so I want to distract the enemy team on this side of B as much as possible to prevent them, attacking my team as it passes through on its way towards C. But I kind of get lucky here, and the Tenryu actually chases me, so it's actually running away from B to try and engage me when I'm completely unimportant in the grand scheme of things here. Also getting lucky in that I'm hitting it fairly consistently, not doing a lot of damage, but doing a little bit of damage. Well, it is still failing to hit me. Apparently that's a bit of poor play on this Tenryu's part. It keeps changing course here, which means its turrets just aren't able to swing around quickly enough to fire a full broadside before it decides to change course again. So you see it's only really firing 1 or 2 guns on its broadside while the other 2 are swinging around, and well, it'll swing around before it gets a chance to fire again. And I have managed to start a fire on the Tenryu. The Soviet guns, they have a decent fire chance, not as good as the Japanese, but still good enough that you can get a fair few fires. I'm up to 3 already this match. And the Tenryu decided it's had enough of me, while my team's pushed right through B, well, a couple of destroyers have. But it's still not engaging them, it's instead engaging the Samson that was following up behind me. My allied destroyers coming through B that you can see in front of me there are being engaged by a couple of cruisers and a destroyer, so they're not going to do that great either. And I decided to ignore the Tenryu. That fire I think was going to, well, I thought it was going to burn out the Tenryu, but instead the fire is the one that burns out. So I have to switch back to fire a few more shots at it, send 1 more broadside off, it's on critically low health, and I start a fire. And my second broadside's already on the way, that leaves it on a couple of hundred hit points, so I decided to just ignore it. And there's my first kill, a tier 3 cruiser. And now I'm in, again, a position of no strategic importance, but basically that destroyer looked like it was coming at me, so I'm hoping that I can just keep drawing the enemies away from here and allow my team to push into A to take that base. And yes, this Derzki is coming at me, which means it's not fighting the actual, useful allies of mine to the south. And again, I've started a fire. Got a bit lucky here. For some reason, I just seem to be doing a lot more damage to this Derzki than it is to me. Possibly I'm just hitting more. But, well, it takes out my engine, and unfortunately I've used my repair ability, so I decided to pop my smoke screen. Managed to finish off the Derzki there, and I send the broadside towards this Wix, but no hits. And what I thought would happen here is that I've still got 30 seconds till my repair ability can be used, and I was basically thinking that Wicks would just charge straight into my smokescreen, track me down and finish me off at short range, since the Wicks guns are much better at short range than I am, and it would have an advantage in that kind of fight. But what I'm thinking is that I'll get my torpedoes ready, it'll pop up at some point at very close range as it comes through my smokescreen, and I'll fire all 10 torpedoes at it with a bit of a spread, and I'll only need to get 1 or 2 to sink that ship. Unfortunately, I was so intent on this plan and waiting for the Wicks to come that I didn't notice that my repair ability is actually ready to use again. And I'll just keep sitting here slowly for the next 20 seconds waiting for the Wicks. But, well, a bit of a spoiler, the Wicks isn't going to come. It popped its smokescreen at the same time I did, so it's actually probably sitting back in its smokescreen, hiding from me, I suppose. But, well, the game's pretty well decided now. There's 7 ships on my team, 4 on the enemy team. We've captured 2 bases and we're well ahead on points. And here's the Wicks, finally starting to come and using its speed boost, but ooh, a big hit there. The guns on the Derzki seem quite powerful. They're only small, I think 102mm, but do the trick and they fire pretty quickly and on a nice low angle, so they hit fairly easily. Managed to take out the engine of the Wicks there, but missed my second shot because I aimed a bit behind it. And it's fired its torpedoes at me, but I'm able to dodge them easy. I've basically been turning into the Wicks the whole time, expecting torpedoes to come. And you can see, if you look down on the bottom left, you can see the kind of angle I've got towards the Wicks, and I'm still able to fire a full broadside at it. But I'm well within torpedo range now, so I decided to fire off all 10 of my torpedoes. I was kind of waiting for an opportunity to do this, just because I wanted to see how it is. And yep, that's cutting off a fair bit of sea. Well, I do manage to sink the Wicks, but it fired its torpedoes, so it also manages to sink me. And yeah, basically that was kind of unnecessary. I only did, I believe, about 700 damage with those torpedoes, so if I had actually kept firing my guns, I probably would have been able to sink it before it got its torpedoes off, and then I would have stayed in the game. But I want to see what that looked like, firing 10 torpedoes. But you see, 99,000 credits at tier 3, along with 1300 experience for 3 kills. Top of my team, but, well, with 3 kills in a destroyer, you kind of expect that. Yeah, and I didn't do that much damage, what's 23,000-ish? Which, well, it's still alright considering I only have 9,000 hit points. But, well, impressions of the Derzki. Basically, I like it. I see a lot of potential in this ship. The torpedoes, I think, are going to get me into trouble, just like you saw at the end there. Whereas I'm going to get close to an enemy, I'm going to use my torpedoes when I probably should keep using my guns, or I probably just shouldn't get close to enemies to start with. But the guns I'm liking, like the Storozhevoi was a very good ship and it had very good guns. The Derzki's gone up a tier with the same guns, but the soft stats of the guns have improved, by which I mean the firing angles and the position of the second and third turrets, which just makes it a much better ship. And so I think it's still going to be a good ship. I'm not sure if it will be as good as the Storozhevoi, but I'm still pretty confident that I'm going to like this ship. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.